Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I am talking about haunted places in the U.S. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. And support is you can support the show in many different ways. You can share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can support the show. I just said that. Anyway, you can sign up for the Patreon page and get all the extra content there for as little as $1 a month. You can also check out the merchandise store and find all kinds of shirts and some other items there. More to come eventually, with designs on them made by friends of the show, with the show logo and other images on there. You can also, actually, that's it. So, support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. And also, please check out links in every episode description for friends of the show. That would be Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel, but also is the co-host of this show on Saturdays. And then Michael Strange of Trouble Minds Radio and the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear all kinds of amazing shows as well as my own over there 24/7 online. And I think that covers everything there. So, a couple things I want to mention whenever I start these shows and these haunted places. These articles I find, they're written throughout time at different points of time. So please, if you hear about a place that sounds interesting to you, make sure check on the current status of that place. Make sure that it is okay to go there and visit. The last one of these shows we just did, as of when the article came out that I was reading, the place was closed to the public. So, uh, and that was for legal and safety concerns and reasons. So, I definitely always recommend looking into any place that you're interested in online to see what's going on there today. And I don't ever support trespassing in any way, for again all kinds of reasons. So I will also probably mispronounce different names as I'm doing these shows, so I apologize for that. Words are hard. So uh, anyway, let's get on to this next location. I will also, as I always do with these shows, include the articles that I'm summarizing here in the episode description, because then you can check them out and read them in their entirety, and also check out the images, the pictures of these places in these articles, which is always amazing to do when you have a chance. So, um, yeah, let's get to this next location. The one we're gonna at least start with today. Maybe we'll only get to do one. Sometimes we get to do two locations per show. But this one is the Fairfield Hills State Hospital, and this is in Newtown. So this first article here is from hauntedrooms.com, Haunted Rooms America, and it says here part of the title is Reported Ghosts of Fairfield Hills State Hospital. That keeps messing me up. So this hospital is it has a dark history, unfortunately, as many places do. The most popular reason that people come to visit these days, according to the article, is the paranormal activity there. It's gained a reputation as one of the most haunted places in the state of Connecticut, which is also, we're still on locations in Connecticut here. So this was apparently a mental health facility, a mental hospital. So, and this is something that pops up over and over again, is that these places throughout time that have been designed They had good intentions, but through treatments that were being performed at different times, uh, and also just uh, conditions deteriorating as far as the overcrowding and other things, unauthorized operations as well. Uh, there's these places become known as haunted places, and whether it's through the residual energy of these people that went through terrible uh, procedures or just experiences, but being stuck in a place where with so many other people like that, or staff that didn't have the best of intentions. Um, these kinds of places, just there's so many that are out there that have become known for having strange things happen in them after they're not being used as a uh, actual facility anymore. The article says here that disembodied voices have been heard in the hospital, um, assuming that presuming the article says that these are from the former patients that were there. And again, that hopefully that's residual. Visitors, it says, to the grounds have reported seeing people dressed in white, and they believe that these apparitions are that of the former employees and patients of the hospital. So it goes into a brief history here. Uh, so the facility, which is described as a campus-like area, it was designed to alleviate overcrowding at two other state hospitals, and it was colonial style buildings made of red brick at the time, and the original buildings were fireproof throughout them because of the building the I guess the brick material, but other buildings were uh, made of different material in later years. The hospital had 16 buildings total when it was around and still operating, and an additional 670 acres of land around it. The lands says consist mostly of a forest and large farm meadows. The first patients were received in the hospital in the beginning of June 1933, according to the article here. Initially, there was less than 500 patients and 3 doctors. That's amazing. I mean, that's terrifying in a way, too. It says that by the late 1960s, it had more than 4,000 patients, 50 nurses, 20 doctors, and 100 other employees. It was finally closed in December of 1995, which is relatively recent, uh, and patients were transferred to another hospital um, around that time, still in the same state. And because of its reputation, Fairfield Hills was featured on TV shows like MTV's Fear. The state says now owns the place, which is privately owned, which was privately owned at one point. It is patrolled by state troopers, and there are many underground tunnels there as well. But none of them are passable because they're welded shut at the doors. It says that every Halloween, at least 4 squad cars are patrolling the area. So again, this sounds like an area which is very much not. You're not meant to go too close to it. So um, just keep that in mind. And that is the first article here. So moving right along to the second one. This one is from ahauntedplace.com. Some of these names, these websites you'll hear again and again because they're decent size articles and they're formatted where it's fairly easy to read. Um, and so there are some other sites out there that are just not so good at that. They have like one paragraph and or there's just all kinds of ads everywhere and so you can tell by listening to all these shows which sites I prefer in doing this research, if you listen to enough of these episodes. So the title of this article is "The Ghostly Haunting of Fairfield Hills State Hospital in Connecticut." And so this article came out in 2022. I'm trying to remember now to start referencing when these articles came out. So this article starts off by mentioning the location, which is in Newtown, and it says it's abandoned, but again, as the first article said, it is patrolled. It has historic architecture, and the article talks about, of course, it mentions the fact that it was a mental health facility, and that is reported to be the cause, which there could be good reason for this, the cause of so much of the paranormal activity there. And so this gives the address here and a website. So it says it was founded in 1931 and then closed in 1995 here in this article, according to this article. And it was initially made to, again, alleviate overcrowding. It had so the layout, it was designed to be to have a cottage plan that aimed to provide, it says, more humane and therapeutic environments for patients. Of course, that can be rough over time. Things change, and but anyway, it says it's set over 700 acres with many buildings connected by a labyrinth of tunnels. But again, as the first article mentioned, those are closed off now. So they adopted this cottage plan, which is, I guess, from what I've read in other articles, where they have specific buildings for specific needs for patients. And of course, they used a lot of controversial treatments there. It faced issues of overpopulation, with numbers passing over 4,000 patients in the 1960s. So it says eventually it did close in 1995, I believe it said there. And after it closed, the property was acquired by the town of Newtown, and it was repurposed for a while, and parts of it were opened to the public for different uses, including recreational activities. But so I'm wondering if this came out maybe before the other article. I'm not sure because I missed the release date of that first article. It asks here in this one, is the hospital haunted? And it says that there's numerous reports of paranormal activity there, including apparitions to unexplained sounds, and it's so a lot of people are fascinated by this and want to go there. Apparently, so it mentions again the tunnels was notorious for reports of footsteps and whispers. Many people that visited there claim to see apparitions of former patients and staff throughout the facility. I always wonder about the staff. Um, those apparitions, is if that's residual as well. I'm not sure. It says that rooms where the various treatments, and in some cases, I would use air quotes for that, treatments. Rooms where these were performed are said to be centers of intense paranormal activity. So it does talk about here guidelines for visiting or investigating the area, but it is, and I do like this here. It's important to, if you're going to investigate the area, which that's if it is open to anyone now, I don't know. Again, please do your own research on that. It's important to approach such activities with respect and caution, which I completely agree with. Keep in mind here, if there's anything to anything paranormal, and if there is any consciousness there, then it should be respected. That whoever is there should be respected, um, just as you would want to be respected. At least treated kindly, not made to expected to do things just for proof or for experiences or any of those kinds of things. So mentions here permissions, and make sure you have the proper permissions from the local authorities to explore or conduct investigations. So, and there are safety concerns as well. There's physical hazards such as unstable structures and unsafe floors. So yeah, it's probably if it wasn't closed to the public as of when this article came out, it may be now. So um, let's see here. So yeah, that's basically the end of that article. And now we have another. This next location here is another hospital, and so again, all these links will be in articles will be in the episode description. We probably won't get to both of the articles that I have on this location, since we only have about 7 or 8 minutes left. But we can at least get this started. And some of you may have heard of this one. I think I have. This is Norwich State Hospital. And this, again, is from hauntedrooms.com. So, Haunted Rooms of America. And so it says that several people who have been to this hospital, the grounds, say that being there gave them an uneasy feeling. The structure of the abandoned hospital says in an article here looks terrifying, especially at night. And this was apparently another mental health hospital, which held over 700 patients at one time. So, and again, this is another one of these places where the history of the purpose of the location and what may have been done and what may have happened there is a good it's a good possibility that that is what caused the paranormal activity. So the hospital's Salmon building, and that's spelled, I believe, like the fish, Salmon, is one of the area's paranormal hotspots. Says this was this building was the maximum security area, which is a place where the criminally insane were housed. It was turned into a prison at that point, or basically once that started happening, with rooms and doors and bars similar to cell blocks in prisons. Many events were said to have taken place in the prison. I'm not sure if they mean what they mean with that. They don't really say. It says when Norwich was still open, which means obviously it's closed now for that. It says nurses would report seeing children on the second floor. Some would hear screaming coming from the building. So, and this is when it was still open. Huh. Doors could be heard, excuse me, scraping open, basically scraping along the floor, I guess. Although the only entrance to the building was on the first floor. The article says here the hospital's residual energy comes from the fact that the patients were tortured in the hospital. Again, going back to this, some of these, not only the procedures that were there, but allegedly some of the staff that were not kind either. So, again, this is allegedly, and this is according to this article here. I'm hoping that is not the way things were, but you never know. Says paranormal investigators that have been to the hospital report hearing disembodied voices, objects moving, and doors slamming by themselves. Most of the activities take place in the Salmon and Earl buildings, but the tunnels were also very active. Again, so many of these places had tunnels to connect all the buildings, apparently, and for utility purposes, and those become well known for being hotspots as well. It says that various investigators have also mentioned hearing a woman crying in the hospital. Security guards on their rounds of the property have even heard beeping sounds from some of the rooms as if operations were being carried out. That's always um, fascinating when you have people that have to be in a location for their job, for security purposes, having experiences. Over the years of doing this show, every so often I would find an account of someone who works security in a building. Not always a hospital either, just any various kinds of buildings, but also some medical facilities. But these accounts of people that work security, or even sometimes cleaning, or maintenance, where they were the only ones in an area and they would have these weird experiences. It says there's also reports of sudden cold blasts of air even during hot and calm summer days. So the next section here talks about the history. It says that after it opened in 1904, in October of 1904, the hospital held 95 patients and then slowly expanded to over 20 buildings holding more than 2,000 patients. Uh, it, it housed the mentally ill, but also began taking in patients with tuberculosis and patients who were chemically dependent, according to the article here. It says that several deaths took place in the article, but the first death was recorded in 1904, which is not long after it opened. It actually, yeah, the same year as it opened. So we'll go skip a little bit of that. We don't need to go over all the deaths just because don't want to be too dark in this show. But you can check out the details in the article. It says the hospital closed its doors in 1996, not long after the last one we talked about, and the patients were transferred to other locations. There's been several unsuccessful attempts to sell the property, said, since the article came out. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, in the 2000s there. In March of 2009, the town of Preston, which is where it's at, bought almost 400 acres of the land, and in the same year, the Preston Redevelopment Agency was created to oversee the development of the property. So, and again, we have a second article here from theparanormal.net, which is amazing that someone actually got that name for our domain, for our website. And we are not going to have time to get into this other article here. So I will leave that in the episode description for you all to check out and go from there. And so yeah, I believe I've heard of this one before. This Norwich State Hospital on some shows or other that I've listened to over the years. Maybe some of you may have as well. That's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.